came out yesterday, I was like, there's so many teen girl voices screaming for Voltron. Then like the cast came out, I was like, oh, they're all hot. Okay, got it. Yeah. Now it all makes sense that everyone's hot.
It's a cartoon. Like
I know, but also, I know that, but like also, you know, there's, anyway. All right, so that is exciting. So yeah, so we are going to bring them out in just a few moments. Does that sound good? Good? All right, this is also a good time to start thinking about questions. That's right, thinking about and preparing those questions. We do ask, I will say, a couple of quick things, just middle of day 2. Please don't ask for hugs. We cannot do that. Autographs, those sort of things, they do hold up the room, but...
And don't propose, we've had one of those
today. We did have one.
We're at a 1 proposal maximum per day.
It was so cute.
It was.
It was so cute and I loved it. So something to think about there. But yes, definitely get those questions ready because we will be opening up the floor to questions, so that's super exciting. Elliot, I want to get these people clapping. Can you play a little music and then I need your help?
We're going to do this.
Thank you.
So how many of you have been to... Look, I just realized this is probably the wrong place to ask this question. How many of you have been to a sporting event? I did not expect that. So everybody clap your hands just like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to split the room into 2 sides. You over here, this will be Amanda's team. We're over here.
Guys, I taught you well. Let's start clapping. Very polite. I really like it. You're clapping. Let's get those feet in it. I want to hear feet. Continue the clapping. And let me hear you scream! What's up? Ladies and gentlemen, keep it up, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going! Claire Kramer! Thank you, thank you! All right, you guys, Emerald City Comic Con 2018, yell! Let me hear you yell! You guys can yell louder than that. Let me hear you yell! Adventure time? How about Voltron? Welcome to Starbucks, Mr. Jeremy Shada!
Thanks for coming. How do you guys do today?
I think they want to thank you for coming, right,
You guys want to thank me for coming?
Yeah.
That is crazy. So how many Adventure Time fans are there? And how many Voltron fans are there? Well, thank you guys so much for coming. It's so fun to be out here in Emerald City for Seattle. You guys are like the coolest fans. I've been just hanging out with
They
y'all.
are the coolest
You guys
fans.
are so sweet. You guys are so sweet.
They're like the coffee drinking.
I know, exactly. You guys are all so good looking. It's just like all good looking people all across this room. I love all the cosplays. Raise your hand if you're doing a cosplay today. Wow, actually, know a lot of people. Voltron fans, Adventure Time fans, love cosplay.
Do you ever go to these things and cosplay yourself?
I don't, mainly because after I've seen the cosplays that I've seen, I feel so inadequate.
You're like,
I don't have time to come up with these amazing
Yeah.
looking things. People have like the full battle armor. They're like, yeah, I spent just 3 months on this, not a long time. I'm like, wow, yeah, it's not long at all.
3 months, thousands of dollars.
It's also ruined Halloween for me, because anytime I do I always just wait till way too last minute too, and I'm like, okay, what's in my closet that can pass as a costume today? And it's ruined it, because everything I've seen is so much better than what I have, and I'm like, okay, I got a fedora and a vest. I'm a mobster. That works, cool.
There it is.
That's perfect.
Done. Well, yesterday we screened the first episode of season 5.
Yes, we did. Was anyone here yesterday?
It was freaking awesome. I want to know, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but I want to know, when you first were called to read for the project, what did you know about the source material in the original series?
Yeah, so I didn't know, I knew what Voltron was. I didn't know, I'd never really watched almost any of the episodes ever. I maybe might have seen one somewhere along the line, but I wasn't super familiar with it, other than the fact of knowing it's 5 lines and coming this big robot. That was it. That was pretty much my only thing. I knew the name of it. What was interesting to me was I knew the creative team was DreamWorks Animation, which is do awesome stuff. Netflix, which is super cool. And then even more specifically, Joaquin and Warren, who are our showrunners and executive producers, have worked on Legend of Korra, Last Airbender, Last Airbender was my favorite TV series as a kid growing up. I loved it. And yeah, Last Airbender, Avatar fans. And so just their style of the animation style that they do and their style of writing where it just mixes like comedy so well with really serious, awesome, dramatic beats, which is my favorite. And so I wanted to be part of it. And I didn't listen to the original voice at all during the audition process, just because I wanted to kind of just do what felt natural to me and what I felt worked with the character, not having someone else kind of in mind. And then after we had gone through the beginning process, the probationary period, so it was stressful at first. I auditioned from my house, then I went back and had like a little callback session where I auditioned for Lance, and I also auditioned for Keith as well, actually. Which was very different than Lance.
Oh, wow.
I'm glad I got Lance.
I can't picture, I can only picture your
After
Lance.
doing it for so long, I can't picture it either, but I was like, okay, so I did both, and they were like, no, like, you're Lance, and I was like, cool. So then I got it, and then I had, like, basically you're on a probationary period where they're like, you know, if it's not working, we might, like, switch you out with someone else, blah, 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 and that was for the whole cast. And we had probably 2 or 3 different Shiros. We had a few different Keiths, at least one other Laura in the beginning. And so people would be switching out, and you're like, hey, I need to really get these lines perfect. Like, don't talk to me. I'm focusing right now. And then they finally one record. They're like, okay, this is the locked-in cast. You guys are it. And we had like 2 or 3 records right in a row with everyone there to start off the show because Andre Romano, our voice director, wanted to make sure that everybody had a great chemistry, that we all like knew each other, so that even when people couldn't be there for records, like you knew what their voice was,
right?
And you kind of knew where they would go with lines. And so from then on, we've been doing it. And I finally went back and watched some of the original show after we've been like a season in. Some of 84, and it's super cool to see where everything came from because you see so much of it. You're like, wow, that's such a cool homage. And like, I was surprised by how much we actually really followed the original, but then also in just enough ways really made it modern and tonally made it work for where everything is now, which is cool.
Well, Joaquin and Lauren did a great job of updating it for the Netflix generation, but holding on to like those action sequences and like the real like character development and like 100% rating approval on Rotten Tomatoes for season 1.
Which is pretty awesome. Thank you guys. Obviously, you guys are a part of that, so I'm glad you guys approved of the show.
Yeah, so what a ride. And then, of course, Adventure Time.
Adventure Time. That little show.
The last season is about to...
I think we're about to start airing.
Yeah.
Does anyone know when the last season starts?
I think it starts the 18th.
Sure, let's go with that.
I can check if I'm right or not.
It starts very, very soon. I think the last season is, I want to say like 16 episodes, and it's like one long arc.
What is it going to be like to wrap up that character? They're playing...
For me, I've already wrapped it up, obviously.
Well, yeah.
We record so far in advance. I actually finished recording early 2017? Early 2017. I've actually been done recording it for over a year now.
Oh, wow.
And we're just, the last season is finally now airing. It's kind of crazy. It's so weird when you go from working on that show. I started when I was 12. By the time we finished, I was 20. I'm 21 now, but by the time I finished, I was 20. So 8 years. You know, from 12 to 20, like every single Tuesday afternoon was always Adventure Time day. And you always see the same cast every single time, the creatives, and you just kind of get used to it. You just get in the rhythm of like, this is what I do on Tuesdays. And so it was super weird the first Tuesday after we finished being like, oh, I have to do something else on Tuesday afternoons now.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do? I've always had this 4-hour block just like blocked out for Adventure Time, and now I don't. For us though, it's always bittersweet because on one hand, most shows never go anywhere near that long.
Yeah.
And so we're just super thankful and happy and blessed to have a show that went 9 seasons. So thank you guys for watching the show and being that dedicated. No, seriously. It would not go anywhere near that long if you guys had taken to it, loved it, and watched it. And so for that, we're happy with that. But then you're always, whenever you no longer get to work with people you love working with, that's always a bummer. But we're proud of the show. I think the last season ends on a really, really cool note. We wrap up a lot of awesome storylines. But we leave it just open enough to where if they want to do anything later, we definitely can.
Yeah, there's still a little left open. We'll find out.
Yeah, exactly. There's enough left open. I don't know what they're gonna do with it. People always ask me so is it gonna come back? I have no idea if they're gonna do spin-offs or anything. I have no idea. They very well could. I know after we finished, we did do one extra episode, which was a Minecraft episode, which is a specific promotion with them. So like the whole animation was like Minecraft animation.
That's cool.
It's super cool. And there was like rumblings at one point about doing an animated feature film for Adventure Time. I don't know if that's, I have no idea if that's happening or not at this point.
That'd be cool.
That would be super cool.
Yeah.
I would love it. So hey, if you guys want the, just tweet at Cartoon
Just let it be known.
Be like, y'all need to do something with this show.
Well, we're going to take questions. You guys can line up in the aisles while they're lining up. I mean, you're a voice artist, you're on camera, you're a musician. Like, what attracts you to a project or a role in general?
I like getting paid.
That's good.
Joking, not joking. But honestly, I do like to work. I love working. I don't. The days where you have like nothing going on, I'm just like, gosh, I want to be doing something. And so I love to work, and all the projects that I've been given the opportunity to work on, Adventure Time, Voltron, Mr. Student Body President. You ever know that show?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
All right, sweet. Mr. Student Body President, for those of you that don't know, it's a live action show that I do on Verizon's Go 90 app. Kind of like their version of Netflix. And it's a comedy about basically, I play the student body president of a high school who takes his job way too seriously. So it's almost like watching House of Cards in high school. So it's like kind of like all like political charades and shenanigans and like backroom Machiavellian style politics, but like in a high school. So none of the issues actually matter at all.
Right.
Very fun. So we just released
Well, they
our
matter
second
to you.
season. They matter to my character. Yes.
Very much so.
And we just released our second season. We've shot seasons 3 and 4, which will come out sometime during this year. That show's super fun too. But any of those shows, like, they're great shows, and you realize that the stuff that you don't get at times, you're like, man, I wish I would have got to work on that. Either the thing didn't work out well, or you just wouldn't have been right for it anyway. And then the doors that are opened are always the ones that you're in a great place to be doing. So for me, what attracts me to a project is just fun character. If there's cool people involved.
Yeah.
And if I'm just like, yeah, I think I could have fun doing this. You know, even if it doesn't seem like something that's like right off the bat this most amazing thing, if you can see something in the character that you could just have fun doing, sometimes that's the most fun. Because you also just never know what's going to work and what's going to not.
Absolutely. You know? Like sometimes the projects I feel like that you think are home runs are the ones no one ever sees, and then the ones that you're like, and then they go.
I had Adventure Time. I was like, okay, cool. Like it's a little.
Yeah.
Animated cartoon show, like, this will be fun. I didn't think it would go on that long. I was like, we'll probably get like a season maybe, who knows. You know, there's shows get canceled after one season so often that you just never expect it to run anywhere after that. And so then like seeing the fan response, and then when you see the finished product come together, you're like, wow, this is really awesome.
Yeah.
So you just never know. And then with even with music, I also do music as well. I have a band, Make Out Monday. You know, she does. And someone over there, they went, what? I love entertainment. I love entertaining people in all different forms, and it's fun to go from doing like acting to voice acting to doing music, because they're all in the same area of just entertainment and the arts, but they are all different, so it's fun, and it doesn't feel like you're doing the same thing all the time.
Right.
And so with that, we have the band. I sing and I play bass. It's kind of like punk alternative. Kind of pop.
Well, we're gonna have a little screener in a little bit, but let's take some questions first because we want to give everybody a chance to talk to you.
Hi, my name is Ella. I'm from Des Moines, and my question is, what was your favorite bit in The Incredible Crew?
Oh, yeah, that's another show that I worked on. It's a sketch comedy show that was on like one season on Cartoon Network live action. My favorite bit from that show is definitely running errands with my mom. So thank you. There's a sketch from that show called Running Errands with My Mom, which is like a mock like rap video basically, and it's all about running errands with my mom. But it's done, you know, in the tone of Eminem basically. And so yeah, that's my favorite one. So much fun. Thank you. I'm glad you like the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your question.
Hi, I'm Elena. My question is, what is the cutest ship on Voltron, Clans or Shalura?
Oh, got it. My favorite ship is probably Shunk. Shane Hunk. Okay, few people down with that.
Yeah,
There's a few. Shalora's cute too. I mean, they're all cute. They're all cute in their own ways. Obviously, the reason I never am able to answer this question is because if I answer it with certain answers, then people will be like, "This is confirmed. He knows." And so I can't ever do that because basically it'll just be taken as that's canon for the show. But there might be certain ones that people like or don't like that possibly happen throughout the course of the show.
And there you have it.
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know.
You have to wait and see. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Dean from Humboldt, California.
What's up, dude?
Yeah. I have a question, but I'm not sure if I can yet because it's about the new season that came out last night.
Yeah, so how many people have actually seen the new season? Okay, so quite a few, but there's still
You
people
guys
that
watched
haven't,
all 6 episodes
I'll be
last
careful not to spoil things
Yeah.
for those of you who haven't.
It was in the sneak peek, so the question.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool, yeah.
So I was wondering, what was your response when you saw that Lance could now form sword?
Friggin' awesome. I get so many cool things this season. One of my favorite things this season is it's my favorite battle yell that I've done throughout the entire series. Everything before and everything after, actually. It's towards the end, and it's actually, I think it's in the sneak peek trailer. You see like a little bit of it. And it goes all very black and white anime, like just super intense. It's the loudest, most guttural battle yell I've ever had to do out of any project ever, and it was so much fun. It was by the end of it, my face was super red. You get the vein above right here, and I was it was physically exhausting. By the end of it, you're like, oh crap, no, are you okay? Do you need to take 5 minutes? So that I'm very, very proud of that. It's super epic. I don't know if it's the one where it might be on the one where he formed this one first. I don't know. It's somewhere in there, but it's my favorite. So
That's awesome. Thank you.
Great season.
Yeah, thank you. Hi.
Hi, Mom. Okay, so I have a couple things. One, Make Out Monday is one of my favorite bands.
thank you.
Of course. And I'm a singer, and in my band, we cover some Make Out Monday songs.
Do you really? Which songs do you cover?
We do Sirens, Kissophobic, and Hopeless Romantics.
That's awesome.
Have you ever met a cover band for Make Out Monday?
Specifically,
Yeah.
no. I've only heard of maybe one person doing cover of our stuff, so
Okay.
that's actually super cool.
You just made his
Super
day.
excited.
That's awesome.
And by the way, actually, Kissophobic that you mentioned, that's one of my favorites. That's the song. We're going to show off a music video, which is actually for Kissophobic at some point during this panel.
Yeah. You want to see it now?
Sure,
Yeah,
yes,
you guys see the
absolutely.
music video? It's a pretty good segue.
Do we have the video ready?
Am I still allowed to ask a question?
Yes, you
Yes.
can.
Thank you.
Yes. You get double time.
Yay!
Yay. All right. If the video is ready, we'll play it.
That's the video.
That was awesome. First of all, I mean, the whole Back to the Future.
Oh, thank you. Anybody like Back to the Future?
I love that song.
Thank you. The song we thought it fit just super well with kind of the throwback vintage. I mean, Back to the Future is one of our favorite movies. We love that film. And so it was just fun to do something that was an homage to that and very inspired by that, obviously. But then still do something that was its own thing at the end, obviously. But the song just lended itself perfectly to that type of video.
Oh, yeah.
That throwback kind of doo-wop-y song, and then it gets rock at the end.
Yeah, and then it wrenches your heart out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It just makes you sad and depressed inside.
All right, back to you. Did you like the video?
Okay, so I had to stop myself from tearing up.
Okay.
So,
Well, then I guess mission accomplished.
Yeah, right?
Thank you. That's good.
so first, I really love your new album, so I drew this for you. Yeah, it's Lance, but you know.
That is so cool.
So my question is, when did you, or more like, how did you start Make Out Monday? What inspired you to get the band together?
That's a great question. So I've always had an inclination for music since an early age. Initially, I love doing music as kind of a way just to round out, I guess, my abilities. There's a lot of things in acting that require you to at least carry a tune or do musical things, and a lot of things that I worked on. So that was helpful for that. But I also I'm a music lover. I just love music. I love singing. And I started playing bass when I was like probably 12 years old, somewhere in there. And I never really, I mean, I always thought about possibly doing something, but there was never the right project, I guess. Like, there were certain people that were like, oh, you should do like a solo singer, like Justin Bieber type stuff. And I was like, Yeah, I mean, like, I even love that style of music, but I just never wanted to do something like fully just by myself, you know? I don't know. And I love collaborating and working with other people. And so, with my brother Zach, who does the other half of the lead vocals and also plays piano and keys, and then our drummer Seth and guitar player John, they're best friends. We've known Seth for forever. We've all known each other for a long time, and I kind of just one day went to Zach and I was like, dude, like, let's just like do music, basically, more or less. And he was already starting something with Seth, and we're like, well, we kind of just jammed a couple times, three of us, and then we brought in John, who's the guitar player. And it just kind of came about naturally from there, and it was always in a place of just, we're all very good friends, so we love doing music together. I mean, we just wanted to do stuff that we were happy with. It was different. It was just kind of the style that we love playing. And it's growing, and it's grown like a ton since then. We started in 2014, I think. And we've been so happy with the response we've had from tons of fans. We've been able to tour a lot of places around the world. So that's kind of how it all came together, and we're completely independent. We do everything ourselves. That whole video we shot ourselves. My brother Zach, who's the other lead singer, directed it. And yeah, we literally completely independent, which we love because we get to have the freedom to do what we like to do. And yeah, so that's a little bit of makeup.
But I love it, and I think it's so amazing that you're covering a song. So
that is amazing.
I love it so much.
Good on you.
I love the music. Is there any chance I can get someone to give this?
I'll give it to him. Here, bring it up to me.
Oh.
And in the meantime, we'll go.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm Jolena from British Columbia, Canada, and
Awesome.
I was wondering what your favorite part of performing is, whether it be in Makeout Monday or as an actor.
Ooh, that's a hard question. It's really hard. I mean, they're very different. I mean, they're all like I said earlier, they're all in the arts, but it's hard because they feel like two completely different things. I don't know which. If you put a gun to my head, I don't know what I would say I like better. I honestly have no clue. I like them at different times. It's fun to go back from like one to the other. The fun thing is when one is getting not stagnant, because I love what I do. I have the best job on the planet. I can't even complain. But like when you're working one a lot, it's kind of fun to go do something else creatively, and then it almost energizes you to go back and do the other. So I love the back and forth. I guess when I was a little kid, what I started with was acting, so in some ways that's kind of always been my dream and my passion from an early age, but yeah, I don't know, they're just different. They're just different things.
Well, and the great thing is, like, even though you're working, in the studio and network system, you're still creating your own content, like with the band, and producing things independently. And I think that's kind of the key to being, like, keeping yourself full as an artist,
Yeah, and exactly. And it helps you in creative ways for the other things that you're able to do. And so it's weird how that works. Also, one also opens up the doors for other things. Adventure Time and Voltron have opened up the doors for us in our music in so many really weird ways that it's weird how that works.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Great question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Caleb.
What's going on, dude?
I'm glad to be here. I had a crush on Finn the Human from Adventure Time when I was 10 years old, and that basically made me have a crush on you, sort of. I don't know. I was 10.
It's okay.
I loved your voice. But my question is, from the bottom of my heart, my mom's heart, my best friend's heart, what is your favorite Adventure Time song?
Ooh. I think one of my favorites is the Bacon Pancake song that Jake sings.
Same.
I love that song. Have you seen the mashup with like We Should Use New York and Bacon Pancakes?
No.
It's really funny. It's really great.
Oh my god.
It's really good. Also, yeah, that's probably actually my favorite song is the Bacon Pancake song.
Can
as
you
far
sing
as
it?
I mean, Jake sings that song, so I can't do it as justice as Mr. John Maggio, but...
What's your favorite song?
What's your favorite Finn song, I guess, actually, that Finn sings?
Yeah.
I don't know the name of it, but the bee episode.
the episode.
Yeah, you know?
I know the song. I know the song you're talking about.
Yeah,
I forget the name.
That
and
was my favorite
After
episode.
285 episodes.
Yeah, like,
Just a few.
Yeah, I think my favorite like Finn song that Finn sings is probably that. It was my least favorite at first, but then after having fans ask me to do it all the time, it's now my most favorite, which is the Buff Baby song. Yeah, it grew on me. At first I was like, oh gosh. You know, but now it's like, actually that's a great song. I love it. It's super cute. I'll sing that one for you because I actually know that one.
please do.
I learned this one because I got asked to do it so much that I had to like one day just go and learn it. So, here we go. I'm a buff baby, I can punch in your balls. Punch on your balls, I can punch in your balls. I'm a buff baby, I can punch in your balls. If you're an evil witch, I will punch you for fun.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Elise. And first of all, you are amazing.
Thank you.
And I have a question as from Voltron. What do you think as he becomes a better leader? Do you think he will see upcoming major developments in his character soon?
Yes. This season, season 5 specifically, even, which some of you have seen already. If you stayed up late last night and watched it, good on you. You crazy people. And those of you who haven't, you will see in this season even. With this season, with Keith being kind of off with the Blade of Marmora, and Shiro being back, you know, in a lot of ways, Lance kind of gets to step up and be that, no pun intended, right-hand man, which is really, really cool. And he's one of the characters that I feel like grows so much throughout the series. He's really learning how to be a team player extremely well. He really cares for his teammates, which are his family at this point. And he definitely gets to kick some booty this season. He does some pretty freaking cool stuff. And I love seeing that. He's always Lance. He always has a great joke. He's always flirting in some way, shape, or form, which is awesome. But you definitely get to see that other side of him where he is learning how to take leadership and be serious. And yeah, there's also stuff with Lotor this season and next season as well. There's a storyline with the two of them that's very, very, very cool. Without saying more than that, he butts heads with him a lot. And yeah, but it's the thing about Lance is it's always from a very genuine place. It's always from a place of caring and looking out for others. And so with like even Lotor, he's like very skeptical of him, rightly so. You know, I mean, he's a kind of the Galra prince. You know, probably done like a lot of probably not so great things. So he's understandably skeptical and is just looking out for his people. But he gets to step up and he'll surprise you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Gabby. That girl's question was actually really close to what mine is, or was, so I guess this is my backup question.
What's up?
So when Lance returns to Earth, all this like stuff has happened to him. He's obviously faced a lot of trauma at a young age. How do you think he's gonna deal with that? And
Just completely loses his marbles. He just goes insane. They have to lock him up in an insane asylum. It's a very depressing episode. It's really sad.
Have you seen Hannibal?
It's really sad. Yeah, it's just the worst. I mean, they've all gone through this collectively together in this show, and so they at least have that bond. And they'll spoiler territory, but we'll go back to Earth at some point. We will see where that's at and stuff. And it's not. There's a lot that happens. But I don't want to say anything else. We'll get in trouble. But I think he's very different. I think eventually, everybody will have that homecoming. I think he has this massive family that he misses very much, and so I think it's cool eventually to get to see them connect in some way, shape, or form.
Different sides of the character.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And some of those things are not super far off their ways, but yeah, it's cool. He's definitely one of the happiest. I mean, they're all happy to be back because it's like Earth food, yay, no more food. But yeah, he'll be happy to get back. I literally can't say anything else because it'll give away lots of spoilers.
okay.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for good backup question. Hi.
Hi, I'm Jaden, and I'm from Bellingham, Washington.
That's my original first name, by the way.
Okay.
No, it's like literally when I was born, my name was Jaden Jeremy Patrick Shada. So, long story. I don't know why I have 4 names. I've always gone by Jeremy though, from an early age though, so I just continued to go by it. And then for banking reasons, because it was always annoying having to be like, my name is Jeremy, but I sign as a. So then I eventually changed my name to Jeremy Jaden Shada. So now that's what it is. But I have a fellow Jaden, so just.
Well,
throwing it out there.
You guys have that in common.
Made my day, thank you. So my question is, on Voltron, we sort of saw in the teaser Lance and Allure talk about how Shiro's been a little different since he's got back from being captured, and throughout the 5th season, without
a little bit of PTSD.
Yeah, and without like spoiling anything, we kind of see Lance become a bit like iffy around Shiro, kind of like not really sure what's going on. So how do you think their relationship is going to develop from this point?
That's a good question. It's always hard when you have someone like the Shiro character that is like, he's the leader. Everybody trusts in him. He's usually a great decision maker, very calm-headed at most times, seemingly. And so when you have instances where he kind of starts losing his crap a little bit, it puts everybody in a weird position because they don't want to take over, I guess, because they're used to him being that and just following his orders. But then you might see some circumstances where maybe have to forcibly disagree and take on some responsibility themselves. And it's hard, especially for someone like Lance who like idolizes Shiro. It's weird being in a place where the person that you idolize is maybe not making the best decisions, and then you have to kind of tell them they're wrong. And so we will see some of that in soonish seasons and stuff.
Soonish. Thank you. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm Hayden, and I was wondering if you could tell me. I was wondering, this is for Voltron, by the way.
Cool.
How hard was it to work on a voice for Lance, and who was easy to work with during Voltron?
You are so cute. You're the cutest.
Good question.
Thank you. Great question.
Yeah.
It is fun being Lance. Lance is one of my favorite characters to play because he's funny. I get fun one-liners. I always know I'm doing my job the best when I'm making my castmates laugh in the booth, and so that's a good barometer enough I'm putting enough Lanciness into Lance. And who's my favorite person to work with? That's hard. I love working with all of them. I think one of my favorites to work with is... I love working with all of them, honestly. I don't know who's... It's fun being in the booth with Reese Darby, who plays Korean, just because he improvs all the time, and his accent, he could be saying anything, and it just makes it funny. And he also has the hardest words on the show. I have to say the easiest things. I just point out the obvious in the show, basically. Like, what is that? What's happening? They're all around us! But they have to say like all this like technical, they're made up words. They're not even real words. They're just like scientific jargon that, doesn't make any sense. And so I just get, sit back and laugh at the best they have to say these ridiculous things. And his, with his accent, makes it that much more hard. So we're just laughing at his pain, really. That's what we do.
Well, thank you.
You are welcome.
Thank you for your question. Hi.
Hi, my name is Calvin. I live in Bellevue, Washington. I was wondering, I really like the miniseries Islands. It's my favorite portion of Adventure Time. I was wondering how you kind of felt about his character development there, like meeting all the humans, especially meeting like his mom and like how things were different. I wanted to know like what that was like recording that.
Well, it was crazy. I mean, I knew that at some point we would get to all that, but then like the way they did it was just super cool. Learning that there's like actually a lot of other humans. Was really awesome, and in the way they did it, where I love all the relationships that we revealed in that show with like his dad and now his mom. It's never what you expect, Every time we always subvert kind of what the expectation would be, because you're always expecting like this just kind of happy homecoming. It's like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you so long. Yes, no. But it wasn't with either case, and that doesn't mean that it was terrible with either case. It was just not what you expected. And I loved it just to show that there's so much more layers to everything, and that people aren't like one-sided. You know, they're fallible. They do stupid things, and so I think that's really cool. I think it's also super relatable at times. I mean, there's a lot of for me, like my relationship with my parents is great. I love my parents. They've been the biggest supporters and encouragement in my career and what I've done. I could not be where I am without them. But there's a lot of people where that's not always the case. And so I think it's really cool to show that and to show, to have a relationship that's strenuous between his parents. I mean, his mom's like a weird robot thing, so that's kind of weird. But even with just like his dad, it's cool because he's expecting so much and then he kind of is disappointed. But then he comes to a place of being like, you know what? I'm going to work on this and I forgive you and I'm still going to love you even though, you know, you probably weren't the best. I'm still going to put my good foot forward and love you no matter what. So that's the cool message from those relationships, which is awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Hi.
Hello.
Right. What is your favorite Voltron character?
Favorite Voltron character?
Who do you think my favorite character is?
I think. Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite character?
Oh, it's both Keith and
Both.
For sure. Lance is my favorite. I can't say. I mean, he just is. But beyond that, everyone. I mean, they're all great. I love all of them. They all are so different. It's a great show that we've been able to give them all different personalities. And if I was in real life hanging out with one of them, I'd probably want to hang out with Hunt because it just makes awesome food. So that would be amazing. But they're all amazing.
They are great characters. Yeah, it's a great show. Thank you. Hi.
Oh, okay, I'm on the screen now. I'm Kelly. I'm from Spanaway, Washington.
Good to meet you.
Yeah. I love Lance so much, so I have to ask a question about Lance and Lance. He seems to always show this hate towards Keith. When are they finally just going to be friends?
They're frenemies. I mean, they love to hate each other. You know, like they're the bickering duo. They, you know, it's that person that like annoys you, but then at the same time they're still great friends and they still have that familial bond. And so I don't know if I mean, we have moments definitely in the show where like, you know, they're cool with each other, and so we'll see that for sure. But there's just certain people that for whatever reason you love to antagonize, and vice versa, that get under your skin at times, and that's just them. That's always gonna be them. They have different personalities, and so they just kind of clash in that way. But there definitely is a point throughout the show where we get to where they're probably less bickery for sure. And yeah, I think it happens more in the beginning, and I think as the show goes on, they get kind of less that way. And then even if they make jokes about each other later on in the series, it's more from like not a antagonizing place, but just like is a friendly place, and so it's not as much that way. But it'll happen.
And one more thing. I haven't seen the new season yet, but last one, Keith...
Everybody dies.
Spoiler.
Well,
Yeah.
in the last one, Keith almost died, and I don't even know if they're going to address that, and I feel like that should. If it
But you gotta watch.
You gotta watch the show.
You have a job after this convention.
Yeah, we gotta watch it. We generally address everything. It might not always be like as immediate as you would want, but usually we will get to that stuff. So, yeah, without saying too much.
Thank you. So obviously everybody here is passionate about, you know, Adventure Time and Voltron. What do you geek out about? What do you love?
Stranger Things. One of my faves. I mentioned earlier one of my favorite animated shows growing up was Last Airbender. Teen Titans. I watch a lot of stuff though. Not as much as I would like to because I don't have enough time to watch everything, but most like superhero related things I watch. Obviously I watched Black Panther recently, great. Stoked for Infinity War. about a bajillion other things. They make so many comic book movies now. It's awesome.
So are you Marvel or are you DC?
Both.
Yeah.
No.
You can't be both.
Yeah, I can be both.
Okay, you weren't everybody's both.
Yeah, you can be fans of both. Honestly, when I was younger, I was more of a fan of DC when I was younger because, like, at the time they had like the animated series. They had a lot of them. I like the animated Batman series, and Justice League. I loved those growing up, and the original. This isn't DC, but the original like Spider-Man animated series were good too. So when I was a kid, like those are kind of what more or less informed what I liked. But then after like reading more like comic books of everything, and then obviously now, especially with the films they've been making in the past however many years with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's evened out. And like obviously some of my favorite movies are definitely Marvel. Civil War is one of my favorite Marvel films. I love it. They just do a great job. One of my favorite DC films is probably Dark Knight. Awesome.
Wonder Woman.
Wow, only one person clapped for that? Jeez. Great movie. Wonder Woman's awesome. I'll stop there because there's other things. But there, you can love both. They all have great characters, and the funny thing is, even if you have an amazing character, you can do an amazing character in a terrible way. And even if you have a character that you think is not the most amazing to begin with, you can do them in amazing ways. Mm-hmm. So it really just comes down to how they're putting them in a story, how they're telling the story, and if they're really staying true to the character. So any and all of them can be amazing, and we've seen that with tons of recently. So
absolutely. Hi.
Hello. I'm Ian from Orlando.
What's that? You're a long way from home.
I move around a lot.
Okay, for sure.
How does one break into the world of voice acting, and how many times have you been asked that question?
Couldn't count how many times I've been asked. It would be very high number. But I will gladly answer it. It's hard. For me, everybody has a different story with how they broke into the industry, and so whereas with a lot of careers, there's like a pretty specific way that you go about getting into that career, whether it be you go to college, get a degree in a certain field, and then you may have post-college, you might have a specific training for that job as well, and then you kind of start from the bottom up and keep working your way up. With acting, everyone that I've talked to, everybody always has a different story. There's no like. Some people do go to school for it. A lot of people don't. Some people are like classically trained. Some people are just naturally very good at it. I started from like 5 or 6 years old, and so I didn't do any like classical training. Other than, I mean, I took some acting classes for sure, and I have an acting coach that I work with. But I started from such an early age that I don't really. We were living in LA, and I always loved movies and TV shows. It's what I just watched all the time, and I guess I realized that LA was the place where that happens, and I was like, Mom, Dad, I want to do acting, you know? And they were like, oh gosh, what are we getting ourselves into? And they didn't know how to like go about doing that, because like, well, you don't know, no one knows. And so they were like, well, we'll give it the old try, and so they took me into an agency, and just kind of like met with an agent, and then they were like, hey, just turn in stuff, blah, blah. Actually, to the back, it was my brother at first that wanted to do it. And so they did that, and then on the way home from meeting with an agency, they sent him on audition, and he went and actually booked his first audition that he went on. And he wasn't even fully signed with that agent yet, which is crazy. And then after seeing him work on this thing, I was like, I want to do that too, that's amazing! And so it just kind of snowballed from there, and then 15, 16 years later, I'm still doing it, and I've worked my way up and through. With voice acting, I was already doing on-camera stuff before I started voice acting, and so the agency that I was with at the time had a voiceover department, and I just started going out for commercials and stuff like that, and just kind of worked my way up, and worked up a reel, basically, or experience, some credits, and then I've just been working my way up and doing it ever since. Obviously, Adventure Time was a huge thing for me. That was the first like really big animated thing that I've done, and that's gotten me a lot of jobs since then. That was probably one of the reasons I'm on Voltron a little bit. They asked for me specifically to come in and audition for Lance because they'd heard my work on that show. And yeah, so it's just with all that stuff, it's like one job leads to the next, and you just have to keep going with it. That's how I got into it.
Yeah, thank you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Natasha, and I really just want to hear you do your Finn voice a bit. So
Of course.
maybe some favorite lines
Yes,
or
of
whatever.
course. Mathematical! 4 favorite words, obviously. What time is it? Oh, that was weak, guys. What the heck?
I think they're asleep.
They must be asleep. Let me wake you guys up here a little bit. I mean, yeah, here we go. What time is it? There we go.
That was better.
Smells out. Meet you, Natasha. We should go party in the Cloud Kingdom sometime.
Yeah, that sounds
You're kind of dressed up as a fairy, so I feel like that works for you. You can fly up there.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yes, that was
Are you
great.
satisfied?
Are you satisfied?
Yes, very.
All right, thank you. Hi.
Hi,
Hello.
my name is Tobias.
Nice to meet
and
you,
I have
Tobias.
a question for you. What's your favorite character in Adventure Time?
Besides Finn, I will say the Ice King. Ooh. Ha-ha! What surprise! I shocked you. This is good.
What's your favorite character?
I haven't watched it because my mom would kill me if I did.
Fair enough. You can answer that
Have you
next.
ever even seen the show? Do you watch Voltron?
My dad does.
How are you here? Are you with someone?
What?
Are you with someone? Are you with one of your parents?
Yeah.
Where are they?
They're somewhere. They don't want to show themselves right now.
Okay, that's funny. That is a great question, especially a great question considering you've never even seen the show.
Well, thank you, bud. Have a great
Thank
weekend.
you, Tobias. You're awesome, man. You're buddy.
Hi.
Hey, I'm Emily, and I have 2 Adventure Time questions for you. First one, during the making of Adventure Time, which actor would you say you probably grew the closest with?
Olivia Olsen, who plays Marceline. Mainly because she's actually here, by the way. She's signing at, I think, the comics booth or something or other. So go say hey to her, Olivia. The main reason is she's awesome, first off, but me and her are the closest in age. And so most of the cast and most voice actors in general are adults and are older. When I started the show, I was like 12. So, you know, and she was the closest in age. She's like 4 or 5 years older than me, and so she was a teenager, but like we both grown up together working on the show a lot, and so she's like my sister, she's awesome, so I'm super close with her.
And my second question is, because Adventure Time is a show that for certain portions can have a very big emotional response to a lot of people, so my question is for like those shows that I can only describe as that emit a lot of feels during when you were recording them. Did you
Did I catch the feels?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely episodes that are just really sweet, and you get into it. I'm not a crier, never have been. I'm stone-hearted, man. I will watch the most sad movie, not a single tear. Like, try it. It just doesn't happen. I definitely am more emotional on the inside. I don't physically like have tears as much, but with that show, it's super heartfelt. I mean, you have those scenes that are just written extremely well. They're very real, even though it's all make believe, it's all characters, but they're very real and they're very relatable. So yeah, you catch the feels. I catch a heck of a lot of laughter. That's for sure. On both the shows. I mean, I'm just laughing all the time in the booth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Hi. I'm a bit frightened.
That's okay. I don't bite. I swear. I'm pretty chill. I know.
My name is Skylar, and my question is, if Lance was, what would he fanboy over if he was like younger? Like on a show or game?
I mean, Shiro, pretty much, which he kind of already did. That was like super epic to him. So I guess that. They're in the future, I guess. So I don't know what pop culture they have in the future. I don't know if what celebrities or people there are. Yeah, I don't. I have no idea. I'm not really sure. I don't know.
You can think about it and answer on Twitter.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll think about it and answer on the Twitters.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Jeremy Shada, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
My name is not important at all, but you can tell John DiMaggio that you met me with this. Bacon frito, bacon, bacon frito, lo revuelvo y lo frío un poquito. Bacon frito, esto está muy rico, bacon frito.
That's awesome.
Okay, my question of Adventure Time, it's a little bit technical. I don't know if you know Adam Muto or Adam Muto.
Yes, I do.
I noticed in season 6, the first 5 seasons, Adventure Time was like very silly, very zany, very fun. But after he took I'm a big fan of him because after he took over as executive producer, the show became more mystic, a little bit more in depth, more philosophically important.
Yeah.
So did you notice the shift in the show when you were making it?
I don't know if it was as what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know if it was as immediate. I think for us it was definitely gradual because the show definitely in the beginning, like you said, it was very kind of zany, very one-off episodes. They just had funny kind of little weird random plots and stuff for the first couple seasons. But then I think once they realized the show was huge and that people just loved it, they got the freedom to do just different stuff. And so part of that was in the beginning when they were pitching episodes to the network, they'd be they just more like this, more like action, more jokey and stuff. And then after the show was a hit, they'd be so we want to do an episode that's all about them just playing cards. They're great, do whatever. And so with that, I think over time they just got the freedom to kind of do whatever they wanted to. And as a show, every show grows. And so for our show, it was growing with the audience too. The generation of kids that you had from the beginning, the farther you go through the show, the more mature it will get, and the more tones that are deeper that we put into the show. And it's also just, it comes from a place of eventually, you know that your audience is growing with you, and so you don't want to talk down to people, and so we get to handle stuff that's more mature, which is really, really cool. And so I think it's a natural progression in the series, and it almost is like a natural progression of the main character as well. He starts off as 12. By the time we're done with the show, he's 17. So you do see him kind of going through, seeing the world as very, kind of just hey, it's an adventure, very black and white, and then he gets older and stuff, goes through teenagehood. Those are some hard years. And so it starts being a lot more gray, and there's a lot more seriousness that happens with just adolescence and growing up. And so I think for us, it was always a gradual place. And then definitely from season 6 on, there's just epic, deep storytelling that happens. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see the last season. And
me too.
Yeah, it's such a great character to play for so long, and now people have Voltron, so you're doing awesome. Your music is incredible. Did you guys enjoy this hour? Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
You're here all weekend, right?
Yes, so I will be here all weekend. So if you want to come by, we'll take a selfie at the booth, get an autograph, come by, hang out and chill. We'll be doing photo ops and stuff too. Yeah, just come see me. I'm here.
Swing by, say hi, give one more big round of applause for Jeremy Shada.